we're talking about is like a broader conversation about whether this should be okay widespread. Here, Jesse, just go ahead and fill out your ballot. Okay, ready? Hey, where's no? Where's no? It's right there. Okay, no, I don't think that this should be okay widespread because I don't think it's fair. Right. Yeah. Well, why not? Are you being transphobic? Transphobic? What are you talking about? Okay? Like, absolutely not. 100% not. Absolutely not. I have LGBT, family members. More than one. Like, they're absolutely not. I will have Alana over for dinner. No problem. Like, that's not an issue. Well, then how do you explain your position? Well, if a female fighter went on testosterone for 32 days, she would get suspended. Alana was on testosterone for 32 years. So, no. Just no. All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. Now, we are going to talk about this transgender fighter, Alana McLaughlin, who won her MMA debut. We're going to talk about this story a little bit. But first, let me tell you a couple quick announcements about my channel. So I just got done doing a long-form interview with Markel Martin, Francis Ngannou's manager. Great conversation. Obviously, there's been a lot of stuff going on around Francis Ngannou with his new contract and whether he's going to fight. He's verbally accepted a fight, by the way, for January. We'll get into all that, in these other videos. So I'm going to be chopping those up and be putting them up. So I've got a lot of content with myself and Markel Martin that you guys can look forward to. But first, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. We're going to talk about this thing. And I would love to hear what you guys think about this particular story because it matters. It matters what everybody thinks because, it just does. This is an incredibly touchy subject for whatever reason. To me, this has always seemed like common sense when it comes to, sports, especially when you can just do the eyeball test sometimes and go, that doesn't look fair, that doesn't look fair. And if you're in you're in a sport where, what do you say every single time? Every single time that you find out that a guy was a steroid cheat and then he blinded a guy, Vitor on Bisping, right? Like he kicked him so hard that he literally blinded him in one eye or half blinded him. What do we always say about that, right? It's like, okay, steroids when you're hitting baseballs is one thing. When you're kicking people in the face is another, right? So how about testosterone for 32 years for one person and then they take a year or two off and then all of a sudden they're smashing people who never had any testosterone or a very minuscule amount of testosterone their entire life. And that seems reasonable. I mean, we don't need to this doesn't need to be a huge political argument. This is literally just common sense, you would think. But let's go ahead and read this article and then I'm going to show you some pictures that should really help frame this issue. If you want framing, I'm going to be very careful not to say anything that's just directly inflammatory because Okay, so Alana McLaughlin, the second openly transgender woman to compete in MMA in the United States, won her debut Friday night via submission at Combat Global Prelims in Miami, Florida. The 38-year-old used a rear naked choke against Celine Provost to end the match in 3 minutes, 32 seconds of the second round. McLaughlin, who began her gender transition after leaving the U.S. Army Special Forces in 2010, said she hopes to be a pioneer for transgender athletes in combat sports. I want to pick up the mantle that Fallon Fox put down. McLaughlin told Outsports before the fight, referring to Fallon Fox, who in 2012 became the first transgender woman to fight in MMA without telling anyone that she was transgender. That's me adding that on. Okay, she didn't tell anyone. And you want to know what happened? She fractured her opponent's skull. Okay, fractured her skull. That happened, right? Right now, I'm following in Fallon's footstep. I'm just another step along the way, and it's my great hope that there will be more to follow behind me. Fox, who sat cage side Friday, last fought in 2014. 4 years later, Patricio Manuel became the first transgender male to compete in pro boxing in the United States when he beat Hugo Aguilar via unanimous decision. McLaughlin began training a year ago and was cleared to fight by the Florida State Boxing Commission after her hormone level tested. She said it was a nightmare finding an opponent. Well, geez, I wonder why. I mean, I wonder, when you guys see the picture of this person, I think you'll understand why she had such a hard time finding an opponent. The fight was originally scheduled for August 6th, but was postponed after Provost, a 35-year-old boxing and MMA veteran, tested positive for the coronavirus. Provost landed multiple punches in the first round before McLaughlin came out on top. her debut comes as multiple states argue bills against restricting transgender athletes from participating in youth, high school, and college sports. Well, I bet you that this incident is going to do a lot for that argument on the side that you're hoping for. Not. If you want to see more than trans athletes, if you want to see more trans athletes, if we want to see more opportunities for trans kids, we're going to have to work out ways that those spaces can make it happen. It's time for trans folks to be in sports and be normalized. Why? Why is that important? Okay. Now I'm not sure, like I'm not trying to be a prick here. I'm saying, why is that important? Okay. Like the thing about this particular issue that I've never understood, okay, is since when are sports like some inherent right? Like the ability to play sports, okay? Like sports are its own thing, right? If you were a man for 32 years and had testosterone, helping your growth, and then all of a sudden you were like, you know what? I am now going to transition and become a female, but I have grown muscle, bone, etc. that can't be undone. And if a girl takes testosterone for 2 weeks, she'll get popped and get suspended. But I did for 32 years, and it's no problem. It's no problem because we don't want to be, we don't want to be transphobic. It's like, okay. So let me just put in perspective what we're talking about. Okay, this right here, this is the fighter that beat that girl Provost. Okay, this is the same person. This right here is the same person. Also, this is the same person. Okay. This right here, this special forces operator, same person, okay? Now, this is same person as Alana McLaughlin, who is going to go fight. Can't imagine how she had such a hard time figuring out who an opponent, that would accept the fight would be. Here's her lifting up her opponent, that there's nothing weird about that. It doesn't look like there's a strength advantage there just from this photograph. And then here is the same person with her arm raised, like end trans genocide. I love that, dude. End trans genocide. Oh, right, because genocide, I think last time I checked, had to do with mass murder. I feel like it had to do with like wiping people off the map. Now, given that I have paid a little bit of attention to this particular issue and just kind of the lingo that this group uses, things like you are denying my right to exist, things like that, or end trans genocide. What they actually mean is, don't tell me that I'm not allowed to fight other girls or fight biological girls in MMA. Don't tell me that. That's genocide. It's like, nope. That is you taking a word that has a meaning and then just making it mean something else because it has dramatic effect when it actually means the thing that it's supposed to mean, okay? Because what I'm trying to commit genocide on is your fucking MMA career. That's it, okay? Now, you like fighting. I liked fighting. I go and I roll. I like kicking things. I like punching things. You like that. We can go to dinner, we can hang out, and we can talk about it. We can even train together. That's fine. Like, I have no problem with you or the way that you live. You could be Alana. You could be whoever you want. I have no problem. As a matter of fact, I support it. You should if it makes you happy. Okay? But do I have to support you doing this right here to a biological girl? Have a look at this picture, you guys. So here's Alana strangling a biological girl, and here's a better picture of it. Just go ahead and look at that picture. What does that do for you? Anything about that bother you guys? Like Alana's 38 years old, and like it's so important. We have to figure out a way for her to compete in mixed martial arts because it's an inherent human right. What are you talking about, dude? How is that an inherent human right? Okay? Like there's all kinds of things that aren't fair, right? Like and the thing is, this isn't fair, right? Now I understand that whoever fought you agreed to this fight. I get that. Like I understand. And in certain regards, I'm kind of like, whatever. If she agreed to the fight, she agreed to the fight. But that's fine for this fight because it sounds like Provost understood exactly what she was getting into. Fine. But if what we're talking about is like a broader conversation about whether this should be okay widespread, here, Jesse, just go ahead and fill out your ballot. Okay, ready? Hey, where's no? Where's no? It's right there. Okay, no, I don't think that this should be okay widespread because I don't think it's fair. Right? Yeah. Well, why not? Are you being transphobic? transphobic. What are you talking about? Okay? Like, absolutely not. 100% not. Absolutely not. I have LGBT, like, family members. More than one. Like, they're absolutely not. I will have Alana over for dinner. No problem. Like, that's not an issue. Well, then how do you explain your position? Well, if a female fighter went on testosterone for 32 days, she would get suspended. Alana was on testosterone for 32 years. So, no. Just common sense, you know? Well, she's not on testosterone anymore. Understand. But last time we did this little experiment, Fallon Fox fractured the skull of an opponent of hers. And that person said, I don't know about trans, whatever. I just know I've never been hit like that before. Yeah, I can imagine, you know? I can imagine. Because here's the thing that I know. You could put me on whatever turns me into a girl, and regardless of what muscle mass I'm going to lose, if I hit a girl that is 20 pounds less than what I am now, which is probably in the ballpark of how much, you know, weight I would lose, I'll smash them, okay? Girls are not built like men, okay? This is not a mystery. Like, this is not a mystery, okay? If you've ever, like, okay. If you're not a fighter, right? Like, if you've never fought, if you've never, like, been engaged in with people, then maybe you can have some form of an excuse, okay? But if you've ever played football, or you've ever wrestled, or you've ever been a fighter, or whatever, and so you by nature have engaged in smashing with people, and so you naturally kind of evaluate the people around you, right? Like, there are girls who are vicious at jiu-jitsu and would fucking tap me out 100 out of 100 times, okay? But they are still built different, okay? Punching a girl in the face, I don't care what girl it is, will not feel the same as punching a boy of the same size in the face. They're softer, like they have softer bones. This isn't just me saying it, this is like scientifically proven. Now, you might be able to convince me that Cyborg falls into a different category than that, but if I remember correctly, I think that she may have supplemented some testosterone for a while as well, okay? So you tell me any girl that's never supplemented testosterone and you tell me that they don't feel naturally more fragile, you're not correct. It doesn't mean they can't be dangerous. It doesn't mean they can't train and be gangster and all that and be super good fighter. It doesn't mean that there aren't 150 girls that beat the living shit out of me. That's not my point. My point is, boys and girls are not the same, okay? And there's no amount of, you know, estrogen that's going to change the fact that if you grew up as a man for 32 years, you are not the same, okay? You're just not the same. I don't know, man. It's just political correctness shouldn't negate people's ability to just share their opinions on things. This is pretty cut and dry, man. Like, this is pretty cut for me, right? Again, Alana can come over. I will have dinner with her. She can get mad about my opinion on her career, but I don't have any ill will towards her. I just don't think promoters should give her fights because I don't think it's safe for the women that she's fighting against. Look at that picture of her strangling that girl, man. I don't know. Anyway, I guess I'm in the same category as Joe Rogan now. So transphobe for life. Anyway, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell.